Natalie's been in my life for about 5 years. I think it's about that. Jan? Oh, is it longer? When did we do the launch of the art? 7 years.
Wow.
I'm sorry, let's take that back.
I think so. Wow.
She inflicted a lot of pain on me doing Pilates. Very talented woman. Not only is she the author and the reason why we're here tonight, she's an amazing businesswoman. She started Back to Life. Now, Back to Life was what caught my attention because about 5 years ago I felt like I needed a little bit of back to life and needed to find somebody that I could... and I think just the coaching, like just incredible. That energy that you give out is just amazing.
Thank you.
So we'd like to welcome you here today, but this is about something bigger than my body. A memoir about two beautiful boys, William and Hamish, all about love, loss, and just that journey of how you get through that. And a lot of you here in the room would have experienced loss and tragic moments, but perhaps not as brave as this one here to put it down on paper. And what she's done is kind of a journey of healing, not just for herself, but for anybody else out there that's been on that journey as well, that needs that healing. It's about going that next step, being brave, and making a commitment. She made a commitment to William.
Certainly did, yeah.
So I think what I'd like is everybody to put their hands together and to congratulate Natalie. Now, we've got all family, friends here together tonight, so you can relax, you guys.
Chill.
I'd like to welcome Jan here, that's a mutual friend. Jan was my hairdresser for 29 years and she left me. The same year my doctor left me. And for a woman that is tragic. But Jan is here to support Nat and to ask her some beautiful questions. And I just sit back, stand back, relax, and just enjoy the journey. So congratulations, Nat. We are Amazon #1, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Curtsy. I've always wanted to do that.
So welcome again, and we're all here to hear the stories. Everybody got their phones off?
Except me.
If you do need a bathroom, head that way and I'll show you direction after I've probably given you a few glasses of champagne. So, but just yell out, I'll be at the back. So anyway, just enjoy. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a bit hard to follow. Now, bear with me with my notes here.
I need mine too.
And yours. First, I want to thank Natalie very much for the privilege of being here tonight. And at the end of the interview, we're going to actually be having questions. If anybody thinks of anything that they'd like to ask Nat, we're going to do that at the end. And I've read the book. I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to read it yet. We've probably all got the copies here now. And it was great. Congratulations.
Yes.
I couldn't put it down. I really couldn't. And it was... and I'm going to read from this, so bear with me, please, because it's things I do want to say. That your life has had huge challenges that would stop most people in their tracks, for sure. And yet you rise each time with courage, grace and huge insight. And in your book, there are some recollections from your own childhood, how animals played a major role, and we can see we've got them represented here tonight. Then growing up and becoming a mum yourself. raising 2 beautiful boys with a rare genetic condition, and then the unimaginable heartbreak of losing them both way too soon. I've just got goosebumps. In fact, Nat, not long after you lost William, when your first son passed away, that was when we met. It was over 8 years ago. It was at a horse riding clinic, or horse training clinic, with Sandy Simons, because we both loved horses, so that's where we met. And then later on, you and me and Hamish spent some very special times together with my horse Shadow, who's up there on the wall. Beautiful boy. And this is something that you write about in your book, and then here we are now with your book, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. How does finishing it feel?
It feels amazing. Sorry. It feels... I have to speak into the microphone because it's been recording. It feels amazing. Absolutely, it feels amazing as an accomplishment, and to build that, to find that belief and trust back in myself that I can come through that experience and produce something that can help other people. So it feels amazing. And I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for being here. So many of you have been part of this journey with me and my boys, my family. And so I just want you all to know that I absolutely am so grateful that you're all here this evening to be in this space with me. I think at some point in the book, I've probably even thought of you all, and I've thought, who would this chapter, who would this phrase, who would this sentence reach out to? And I hope that when you read your book, you feel that. And if you do, please send me a message and say, this was me. I know Jan had a moment, and I know there's other people that have had a moment too. So, yeah, that's be really important for me. Yeah.
So, like, creating this book, like, is huge. I mean, it's a huge thing to do. How did you make the time, like the time commitment? What did you have to sacrifice, and what sort of support did you have? And, like, what would a typical week have looked like for you when you were in the process of writing it?
Yeah, okay, so I pretty much started writing this book in the first few weeks after William passed away. I started writing it like I was possessed almost, if that makes sense. Like I was just writing. I was just at the computer 24/7, and I had to like process. I wrote the story about when he passed away, and you can see that in the first 3 chapters. And then I rested for a while. I didn't go back there for a while. A lot of stuff happening in my life, and I was processing the grief and, starting up a new business and, separating from my ex-husband and, and it goes on from there. So I didn't really explore writing so much from a creative and from a healing perspective. But then, so when I decided to actually go into that I was going to finish this book, that this had to be done, like it was like an absolute calling to me. There is no going back. You have to do this. Nothing else has any other priority except you have to do this. And I nailed down and knuckled down and really got into it. So I sold my car. Yeah, I know. So I sold my car. And I dropped my hours at work. I did everything that I could just to give myself that space and that freedom to be able to write and to go to those freaking dark places, because there was many of them in writing this book. So, and what that would look like is I would be awake at 4 a.m. as soon as I woke up. I would be awake at 4 a.m. and I would write till about 9 in most cases, depending on, if I was working. Towards the end, I went back to work, which was really hard. But when I had the free time and I gave myself that free space, writing from, 4 till 9 in the morning. And I really like the morning time because that's where the veil is the thinnest and you have this real deep connection with your higher self. And that for me was really important to make sure that came through in this book. And in the afternoon, I did all the other stuff, designing the book cover or, communicating with, writing the other book. doing the journals, doing something else that was going to be part of this whole, I suppose, piece that is bigger than my body. Yeah.
Wow. I get what you mean about the 4 a.m. thing. That is a really amazing time to get up and I paint. That would be my favourite time to paint.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then by 9 o'clock you can just go, don't do anything for the rest of the day.
Yeah. It's amazing how quick time goes by too. I've found my moments where I'm like, my God, it's 1 o'clock. Jesus. And I'm still sitting there in my bed. I've drunk like 4 cups of coffee and I'm still sitting in my bed and I'm still writing, rewriting. Yeah,
it's that zone.
Yeah, absolutely in the zone. Yeah. Not necessarily a good zone too, because there were some tough zones to be in. Yeah, went very good for a little while. Yeah.
So backpedaling a little bit to that first time at Sandy's clinic. And I recall that we started off doing some liberty work with the horses. Can you fill us in a little bit about that? When was your aha moment? Because I know that was a very significant day for you when you said, like, I'm bigger than my body. Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, so anyone that works with horses or works with animals... I'll just explain. I'll break it down and I'll explain it a little bit clearer. So, when at this clinic, one of the projects was to work with the horses in the round pen, and when you're working in a round pen, it's a 90-foot circle around you with bars. Like you see, what do you call it? A fence. Yeah, high fence, so the horses can't run out, or you can't. One of the two. And it's about 90 feet, and it's probably about the circumference of this major part of the room, yeah. So you can't touch the horse as it runs past you. They can get away from you, okay? That's the object. They can get away from you. And if they choose to like you and want to come close to you, they'll come into you.
They can also kill you.
They can also kill you too and run you over.
No, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. So the experience that we did, and like, this is me in my layman's terms explaining it, I guess, because I'm not a professional horse trainer by any means, or a psychotherapist for what it's worth, equine psychotherapist. But the understanding is that basically you stand in the middle of the pen and you send out your energy, or you ask the horse to do something with your energy. And I'm just not woo-woo. There's beautiful horse trainers that do it, and when you see it in motion, it blows your mind to see those connections. Okay, similar training as what they do with dogs and so forth. So you send out your energy, and your horse runs past you, and you're meant to increase your energy, and the horse runs faster, and you drop your energy down, and your horse slows down, and then comes and looks at you and walks up to you and says, "You're your friend. I'm not scared of you." So you have this constant. You're building a relationship with the animal. And so we were in the round pen, and I was like.
You and your horse.
Me and my horse. Yeah, me and my horse called Scooby. Send the energy out. It's like my horse is like, really? chewing the grass, totally ignoring me. I'm like, so he's like, oh, for God's sakes, you like, and all of a sudden I was like, I thought I was like, I could be assertive. This horse just read me so differently, so correctly, really authentic and everything. So it really taught me a lesson about the energy you put out there, and who believes you and who doesn't believe you. And particularly in the case of the horse, you really want the horse to trust you, because they're going to be your life partner. They're going to keep you safe while you're on their back, right? So, and vice versa. So you have to make sure that you're safe and sound in their company, and vice versa. So that's what the relationship building is all about. So the aha moment for me was like, wow. And they're like, he's not listening to you. And I'm like, much like my relationship. I need to be doing more of this in my relationship. I need to be stronger, and I need to ask more clearly, and I need to be more assertive, and I need to be not bully or anything like that, but just being like, just more...
congruent?
Yeah. Yeah. Good word. Yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty much my aha moment. And that's when I started looking at, like, energy.
As in, I'm bigger than my body.
And then I even started looking at my own child. in the same way, who was, I had Hamish at that point. William had passed away, and I started reflecting that back onto my child as well. And I thought the energy that we send out to our children as well. I'm busy. We're not paying attention. We're busy, and then we wonder why they're not paying attention when they're busy, if that makes sense. So, yeah, we had this back and forth. So, yeah, so that just sort of just opened up a bit of a channel to sort of go, there's something more out there. There's something bigger than all of us, and what is that? And so that's when I started learning a lot more. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, during that time as well, you wrote a poem which you shared with... was it around that time that you wrote the poem, which was about equine therapy, the path of the horse?
Yeah. No, so I wrote the poem after that clinic because it stirred up so much energy in me, which was amazing. I wrote a beautiful poem for my friend Beck. Her horse, for some reason, reached out to me and said, "You need to write her a poem because she saved my life." And it wasn't at Beck, it was just we'd met 3 days into it. And I'll just tell you, sorry Beck, I'll just tell you a bit of the backstory before I read it. But basically Beck had her horse there. He was an off-the-track thoroughbred, so he's been doing some racing. So he was in his fight or flight state, which means he was always ready to go, go, go. Obviously being a racehorse, he didn't know a calm, he didn't know a stop. And so what happened with that is that Beck found him at a sale yard. She went to buy her daughter a horse and she found him, and he stood out to her because he was a little bit emaciated, so he was very thin, but also he was wearing a pink headstall that had the word Tom on it. And what connected with Beck is that Tom was her horse her heart horse that she'd had for years prior to. And so she bought that horse at a cheap price because he was going to go to the knackery. That's where he was heading. And so Beck bought him, and she brought him along to this clinic where we did all this beautiful relationship work with the horses. And it stirred everything in me. And because there was so much energy going around there, it was like, that energy you wake up on Christmas Day and you wake up and you go, your stomach's so excited and you've got the butterflies going and just so excited. That's what it was like going to the clinic every day and just sort of being around the girls, talking in the barn. Everyone just held space for you. It was just absolutely beautiful. And so I wrote Leo a poem, and we're going to read that a bit later. But we're going to talk a little bit about the being... sorry, Jan, I'm just hijacking your interview. No surprises there. Yeah.
No, that's all right. Oh, yeah. Okay, back over to me.
Yeah, over to you, Jan.
Okay, I can do it. Righto. I'll keep you in check.
Yeah, thanks.
So in the book, William's poems and A Broken-Hearted Legacy, it was like William was giving you an instruction manual. Can you explain a little bit about this and how that was?
So the communicating without words.
Yeah, the communicating without words.
Yeah, so...
So I'll run that by you again.
Yeah, thank you.
About and about the healing and connection as well. So when William gave you an instruction manual, you felt like it sounded like he was you were channeling, he was communicating with you without words.
Yeah, and this is when he was alive.
Right.
Yeah. So this is when he was alive. So in the first chapter, and I won't go into all the details because it's in the book and it'll kind of ruin a little bit, but in the first chapter we talk about William's poem that basically he also gave to me. He was still alive. He was still here in Australia. Well, sorry, he was in Melbourne while I was in Broome, and I was on the plane and he basically channeled me. I didn't realise that's what you call it. And I still don't know whether that's the right term or whether that's, what it is. I know it is, but I'm trying to, but the point is that, so he channeled me these words, and I put them into a poem for him, and it was literally, he just gave me an instruction manual for how I'm going to get through this. And I really think the writing, every time that I've had these moments where, there's been that real heavy, deep loss, grief, hollow, kind of empty feeling, the writing has always pulled me through. And so the communication without words piece is, you don't have to say anything. You can just look at someone, you connect with the eyes, you feel their energy, you feel their heart. And that's the piece that comes through, particularly with horses as well, that they read that, they mirror that, they feel that. And so the communication without words, again, is like bringing that into with your children as well, especially if they're non-verbal and they need communication devices as well. So it's being able to anticipate their needs when it's, anticipating their needs without them having to ask. Just like we do, right? We all do. We just know we have this inner knowing, we have this inner wisdom of what someone will need in a certain situation and we respond. So I guess that's the communication without words. But in this case, it was given to me as a block of thought and I was able to, he communicated in words, but he wasn't present to speak them. If that makes sense? So that was So
in that moment and other times when you've obviously had those very dramatic moments of like words just coming to you like that, are you in a certain zone beforehand, or is it just sometimes do they hit you? Because I know a lot of creatives will talk about the fact that it sometimes an idea like flies past you and it hits you, and then if you don't grab onto it, it can just disappear. So is it?
Yeah, sometimes. A lot of the time, I will all of a sudden there'll be like this, like I'll be like, have I heard that before? Wow, that was interesting. Thank you. Have I heard that before? And then it's like, no, that was definitely a message. That was definitely something to think about. I'm getting better at that now. Like now I ask the question, what message do you have for me? When I'm journaling, and I get a really nice block of thought then. A lot of the book was kind of written like that, and particularly in the harder chapters towards the end, I was getting like, what do my people need to hear? What did my readers need to hear? What's a message I can give in this chapter? And straight out onto the paper. And a lot of times the thoughts were like received as opposed to thought. So it's not like, it's not like what is that word? It's like it just all of us.
It pours out of you.
Yeah, it just pours out. It's like, oh my God, that's. Not putting tickets on myself, but sometimes you're just like, wow, really? Like sometimes I can't even be articulate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, what was that just came through there? It's that higher source, higher self. Yeah, that definitely comes through. And it's about opening that space for that energy and that vocabulary, the communication without audible words, but to receive the thought and to put that down onto paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've just, because we're talking about the communication beyond words as well, and I want to say that was after having read the book, and I know that I can only imagine as an author that there's always that hope that if you reach one person and you make a difference in their lives, that it's been worth writing the book. Well, that was the part of the book that was significant and helped me just last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. In what way, Jan?
Well...
Throw it back out, you. Take that.
No, because this might make me cry.
Oh, sorry. That's all right. I'm going to read the Path of the Horse after this, so you better... Yeah.
Well, specifically, it was... I actually don't know whether I can...
You don't have to answer it if you don't.
It was about my mum.
Okay.
Who I was unable to communicate with.
Yeah.
And... So bear with me while I cry, because this was not in the our script. But had been reading your book. It was my mum's birthday. Mum's got dementia, and she lives in Queensland. She doesn't know she lives in Queensland, and sometimes she knows us, and sometimes she doesn't. And it was Mum's birthday, and we'd been up there a couple of weeks before. I don't think I've ever... Did I even tell you this?
Yeah, you did tell me you went up there.
Yeah, and I saw her and we shared birthday cake for her birthday, which was lovely. And sometimes, it's momentary. Sometimes she knows me and sometimes she doesn't. And I was with Greg, my husband, and we never expect her to know Greg because sometimes I don't even recognise him. Like, you know, he doesn't look like he used to when Mum would have remembered him.
Hi, Greg. He's just walked in.
Yeah,
he's
funny.
communicating without words.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, it was Mum's birthday the week after, and Mum doesn't have a phone anymore, and there's staff, like she's in a nursing home, no surprise, and I wanted to call her, and I'm thinking, my sister wasn't going to be there to be able to make that call, and my daughter was working, she wasn't able to be there, so I could call her, and I'm thinking I could call the staff up, and I'm thinking, you know, my mum, wherever she is, and you would understand this.
You're connected.
She would know that I would be loving her on her birthday. That I didn't need to actually be... If I had have rung up and made the effort, I was actually doing a performance. I would have been doing a performance for all of those people who would have answered the phone and then taken the phone to Sandra and said, "Oh, Sandra, your daughter's rung." And then there was the other thing. There was also guilt and shame because I didn't call her. I didn't do that performance because then there would have been those people saying, "Oh, she didn't even get any phone calls on her birthday." You know, like it's... So for me, that part of the book, when you talk about communication beyond words, and I'm thinking, I absolutely know on the deepest fibre of my being that my mum knows that I love her.
Yeah.
And we all know that, don't we?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, sorry, there you go.
Thank you.
I didn't blubber.
Thank you, Jan. That's beautiful.
Thank you for an opportunity of sharing that.
Absolutely.
Because I think we all need to remember that.
Yeah,
you know?
you do. Thank you. Sorry, I put you on the spot there. That was good. Thank you.
You're quite flushed.
All right, now I'm sweaty. It's just the champagne. Yeah.
Righto, so now I'm going to point out, I don't know if anybody can see, but Natalie wears a beautiful pendant. This beautiful pendant that you've got there. Your heart-shaped pendant, and I know that they're your boy's fingerprints, and, you know, like, and I'm going to read this out too because these words are sort of a bit important. How did you cope knowing that these beautiful children that you created, your two gorgeous sons, weren't destined for a long life or an easy life? And you can tell us, please, how you would just like an anticipatory grief.
Anticipatory. It's crazy that I've actually know how to pronounce that word. There's other words I get stuck on, but that's one word I do understand. We had experienced quite a significant event with William, and he was in ICU, and he was very unwell. He was having more bad days than good, and that's the course of the disease at the time. And we're going to go into a little bit more about ADSL deficiency in a moment, but basically we came out of hospital and I wasn't too sure how long he was going to be with us for, and so I pretty much decided that a friend of mine, actually my sister, said it'd be beautiful if you could do these little pendants for, you know, get the boys' fingerprints and do the I think they're called tiny charms. I can find out. Tiny prints. They're called tiny prints. And so I took the boys, which kind of felt quite surreal, quite weird. You know, we're going to go take your fingerprints, you know, like...
Criminals?
Yeah, well that, yeah, but, you know, it's like, because I want a memento of you, you know, like... And so basically, so I took them to Woodend. My sister came with me. We went with both the boys. I had William and Hamish in the back seat, and we went to Woodend, and the lady came out to the car and she put a little silver mould, and she took a fingerprint, I think it was their little finger, or I think Hamish's little finger was too little because he was only 3 at the time and William was 5. And this is when basically the intensity of the diagnosis for William was coming through. So he was starting to have seizures, and he'd had, like I said, a significant event where he was in ICU and on life support. So after that I went, oh, okay, this is going to be our world, and I better not take any day for granted. And so pretty much when it comes to anticipatory grief, that's where you live. Just don't take any day for granted. Live in the moment. Do as much as you can while you can, and you've still got them in your life. So we did these little fingerprints. She printed their fingers. So I've got William on one side, Hamish on the other side there. So we've got... If you can see that.
It's very organic looking too.
You know
it's very
what?
Beautiful.
And it never tarnishes. Never has tarnished. I polish it with a towel when I get out of the shower, just so it's got no soap left on it, and it's always silver and it's always shiny and it's always close to my heart. And it's like if there was a fire in my house, it's the first thing I would grab. And I did get other little charms done as well. I got a little star done with both of their fingerprints, but I didn't get the 2 on there. But when we got the heart done, that was it. I really wish that I'd got more done because I just want them to last me forever, so they're just on me all the time. So it's always on me. Yeah.
They are beautiful though, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's okay. So this is a tough question, and this is a question that I asked you a couple of weeks ago before I read the book. But when somebody asks you, "Do you have children?" Like now, how do you answer that? How would you answer that authentically?
Yeah. Now, Jan, you asked me that question 2 weeks ago. It was like, lead with this question. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, how do I answer that question? And it made me think. And I thought back to a moment, actually, here's a situation where I was in the nail bar getting my nails done. And there was a young man, he was actually doing my nails and he's filing my nails. He says, "You got children?" And I said, "No."
This was after the boys.
Yes, so this is after Hamish had passed, okay? And he's doing my nails. It was one of those days where I felt really low. And I thought, no, I'll go get my nails done. And for a while there, you probably all know me, I was wearing really bright pink nails, particularly through COVID. It was like I needed some spark. And so I'd go get my bright pink nails and that sort of like brightened my mood. Anyway, so he was doing my nails and he asked me, he's asking me 101 questions, just making conversation.
Boyfriend?
Yeah, you got boyfriend. Yeah, exactly. You got boyfriend, and that's why you not got boyfriend. And it was, so he's asking, "Do you have children?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." "Oh, yeah, how many children?" And I said, "I've got 2. And he says, "Oh, that's good. How old?" And then I'm like, "Okay, here we go. We're going down this path. All right, yep, got 2. Are they at school?" Like, yeah, what school they go? Oh, like 101 questions. And I just, inside of me, my nails are like all grinded back, like, they've been in the foil for like, an hour or whatever. So they're all like sticky and bleh. And I just wanted to run, and he's like, he's filing my nails and trying to shape them and do all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, I just wanted to cry, and I couldn't cry. And I'm sitting there and I'm making up story, making small talk with this man who I didn't know. He's holding my hands. I can't run. And after that, it just hit me. I don't know whether it was because I was trapped in that moment where I couldn't run. I had to talk about this. I didn't even have to talk about it, but I just felt uncomfortable. It wasn't his fault that he asked questions. So what I learned after that is I just read the moment. If it's someone, I can go, like if it's just anyone off the street, "Do you have kids?" "No." If it's, and if we start to build a relationship, then they might start to find out a bit about me and know that I don't have children. But yeah, it's pretty sad when that becomes your secret. And I want to be authentic in that and say, yeah, I do have 2 boys. I have been a mum. And there's another story, but I won't go there.
So you are always still a mum.
I am always a mum. I may not be a parent. I will never be a parent again. But I'm definitely a mum, and I'll always be a mum. And just to process that.
Heavy. Hard. Talking about hard, we'll go back to when you were writing your book and when you were like going back through the process and having read the book, and like you actually start back, like you start at the start when William has passed away, but then you go into your childhood, and then you about animals and horses, and but there would have been some pretty heavy stuff that you would have had to have gone through. And when you were writing that and revisiting those memories, what did that trigger stuff? How was that?
Yeah, it did trigger stuff, but I think I was prepared to go there. And I write about it in quite a bit of detail in regards to the dealing with the grief. And Deb and I were talking a little bit about this morning. Deb's finished reading my book. God love her. And we pretty much were talking a little bit about that. But I guess I just talk about the process of processing, if that makes sense. Just living consciously, like always, and sometimes it's to my detriment, a lot to my detriment, where you're just constantly consciously thinking, you know. Beck sent me a beautiful thing the other day, and it was about how some people just run dark, like they have a lot of dark thoughts going on in their mind. And I'm like, that is so me. Like there's so much sadness in there. There's so much, and I have a smile, and I'm all, you know, all that, and I can have fun, and I have humour, but inside there's that real deep pain that's in there, and that hollowness, that pit feeling in my stomach, particularly when I was going through the worst of the grief. And so I guess it was more about acknowledging those pieces, and then just making sure that I give myself the self-care that I need to pull myself up out of that. And what does that look like? It might be, I don't know, do some art, it might be being creative, it might be whatever it is, doing some Pilates, just to turn that around, to turn that negative thinking, to turn that... I know a lot of us can be like that. Women, we're very hard on ourselves. So, but yeah, just turning that around and just really finding that compassionate piece for myself. And I really had to teach myself when I was really going, I'm getting to it. I can feel it's coming. When I was going into those really dark places and the really hard stuff.
When you were writing it?
Yeah, when I was writing it, I really had to find compassion for myself and talk to myself like I was that little girl that never got spoken to the way that I really needed to be spoken to, or have that experience heard and held, and again, like we did in the horse stable in the yard, being heard. And so just taking that moment and just looking at myself like I was that little girl. That happened to you, that mattered, it happened to you. I understand you have pain, it is okay for you to have that pain. Let's get you better, let's make you feel better. What do you need to make you feel better? And that's what that process was all about. That's very much what the process was like. And I was all of a sudden like, oh my God, I feel good. Geez, okay. Wow. I actually just spoke to myself quite nicely, and I feel much better than beating myself up and, you know, smashing myself around. When I say that, I mean like in thoughts and, you know, negative spirals, going into those negative loops. Still have my moments, but yeah, this book has certainly made me realise that I've got to be bigger than this body, and I've got to sort of step out and, you know, achieve what I want to achieve.
So were you judgy on yourself when you were writing the book?
Oh, yeah. So, even now, like, even like holding the book, I'm like, I got to a point though where I'm like, you know what, it's never going to be perfect, and I'm always growing, I'm always processing, I'm always learning, just like we all are. How I look at this book when I finished it in March, right, to how I look at it today, I'm a different person. And how I wrote, when I wrote the book in 2016, the first 3 chapters, I'm a different person. I've left them pretty much raw as what I wrote in 2016, so there's a difference, and then go to the last 3 chapters and you can see the transition and the learning. So yeah, definitely you can see that growth, and I've just gone, you know what, that's where I was at, it's done, I've moved on. Not all of it I agree with too, some now. Like, okay, my mind's actually changed about some of my opinions on a few things too. And that's okay, because that's growth, you know, and that's what it was all about. So, but I won't write it again. That's it. It's like, you know, having a child. They're not always perfect.
Don't let perfect get in the way of good.
No, that's right. But I do want to mention a bit about ADSL deficiency. And talk about ADSL deficiency as most of you may know about ADSL deficiency, but for those that don't, particularly the people watching this, ADSL deficiency is a rare metabolic disease that affects the purine metabolism in the body. So basically, it affects the it affects the brain and the energy production system within the body, and so. As a result of that, it causes seizures, it causes severe developmental delay, it causes visual impairment, and all on a varying scale of severity. So you might have mild to moderate to quite severe. And that's depending on the ratio, and I won't bore you with all the scientific, but if you want, you'll read a little bit about that in the book too. I found it was just really important to me to still, I'm advocating for my boys, not just my journey, but advocating for the disease as well, to make sure that people become more aware of the impact that this disease has on people's lives and our children's lives. And but yeah, so the disease causes, developmental delay, physical and intellectual disabilities. And back in 2014, we created a Facebook group to capture as many families as possible and support them through the process. And
so, when your boys were diagnosed, how many known cases?
There was 40
in Australia.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there was 40 reported cases in the world.
Oh, in the world?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that you describe them as your rare boys.
Yeah. Exactly. They are rare boys. Yeah. Yeah. So, and so there's 40 reported cases in the world. And so over the years, I've been determined to find those 40 people. And basically, we found 120. So now we have 120 people, 120 families that have connected into the group, and we're constantly, research projects. We've had scientific research happening in Rome, in Sweden, in France, in lots in America. We've had a lot of research over there. None here in Australia. I approached Murdoch Institute, and they weren't ready for that here. It's got a lot to do with funding, rare disease, rare funding. That's just how it goes. So as a family advocate group, we've been the ones that have been, raising the money through, various events with our parents and ADSL deficiency. So, so it's really vital for me to get this message out, and that's what I'm advocating for, is for those families, and sharing this book so they share the journey, but also keeping them in mind while I'm writing the book as well, that hopefully I can help them as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. You've got a lot on your shoulders there, woman.
I'm thirsty.
That'll fix it. So that was a lot going on there. So something to lighten things up a little bit.
We'll do the Path of the Horse poem.
Whichever poem we've got, or the Leo, which...
What are we doing for time, guys? I have no time. That's the one thing I don't have is my stopwatch. I know.
6:15.
So can I do Path of the Horse? All right, I'll take it to my darkness. And then
Microphone.
Sorry, hang on. The 10 pages. You bracing yourself? Oh, there it is. Okay. So this poem I wrote after spending some time on my own in the paddock, and just taking some time to connect into myself. And this is the Path of the Horse. My long-lost love has returned. I'm overwhelmed by her beauty, those big, shiny, dark eyes, so captivating and so deep. She breathes me in and she draws out my soul. She feels my pulse, my heart, my intention. Those big, shiny eyes reflect the love for the child I too have lost. She sees my dreams unfulfilled and all hope frozen through fear. She feels my sorrow, and yet she welcomes me into her herd. With one deep breath, she soulfully whispers, I can see the real you. There is nothing you need to hide here. Then right before my eyes, she becomes my mirror. I feel her empathy. I bear witness to her courage and compassion, and she senses my grief and sorrow. She bows her head in sympathy. We stand side by side in our connection. There is no way of escaping her or my pain. I embrace my fear as she begins to remove my protective armour layer by layer. With her, I cannot deny the truth. She knows I am broken, yet she doesn't judge because she is the same. Then with a stomp of her hoof, she jolts me back to life. I find my strength, courage, and my fear begins to resolve. I feel her energy connected to my heart, and with each breath, my tormented mind is released from its negative hold. And then, in this moment, a truly innate friendship unfolds. Time and time again, they show us their perfection. For the path of the horse is more than they'll ever know. It's here I am truly one of the herd. For it is here I can feel my heart for the first time in years. And thank God it's here I am saved from the slow suicide, as today I am hopeful for my tomorrow. With such simplified, dignified life reflections, she shows me she is more than just a horse. It is by her side I am brought back to life, the ultimate connection to a higher source. I am coming home with the path of the horse. Thank you. And note to self, I must have printed in the smallest font. That was so hard to read. And I've got contacts in, and I'm like trying so hard to read that. Okay, the next one.
Well, I mean, clearly there was talk of suicide.
Ah, yeah.
In there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, how do I come out of that? How do I move through that? I needed to find a purpose. I needed to find a meaning. I needed to find a reason for being here. And that's why I wrote this book. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. And here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on a little bit lighter note there. Moving right along.
Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to read Leo's Divine Intervention, which is about that horse I was mentioning before, the off-the-track thoroughbred racehorse. Okay. This font's a little bit bigger for me to read, so I should do better. And I've given myself some spacing, so I should read this a little bit better. Okay. Leo's Divine Intervention. My name is Leo. It used to be Tom. That was until I met my sweetheart Beck. She's a purebred pom. You see, I was a used-up racehorse heading for my doom. She said they said I couldn't run fast enough. I said, you're pushing me too hard too soon. Those humans can be so cold. God knows I really did try. I paid for their mistakes. Why? I don't deserve to die. Can a racehorse have a divine intervention? All I needed was another chance. I'm not a bloody racehorse. I want to learn to line dance. I was used up and abused when Beck caught my eye. What's that? Dressage and eventing, you say? Okay, just get me out of here and I'll give anything a try. From eventing to cowgirl dressage, what a team, they couldn't stop us. My dear Beck, I'm sorry about that, Buck. It was my excitement for life. You see, you believe me and they're all wrong and, well, I could hardly believe my luck. Hang on. Keep calm and low, it's this you taught to me. Please keep patient, Beck. One day soon you will be real proud of me. You know, I'll take some time, you'll see it's a powerful thing, having dodged the butcher's life. I still can't believe a purebred pom in that pink headstall done well saved my life.
I've got to say, I still remember, and the girls here who were on at that day when you read that poem, when you'd literally gone home the night before and then you came in the next day and
I was so excited.
It was very special, wasn't it?
No.
So, like, where to from here? Like, in your book, and I'm sure through your book, we see that you find ways to transform pain into purpose, grief into love, and your adversity into great strength. It's amazing, as you are. So where to from here? What's on next? Movies?
Hey?
Movies?
Movies? No. Although I'm going to rehash Hamish's movie.
Oh, yeah.
I've been making it forever. Maybe I'll get to that. I'm starting to learn more technology. Maybe I'll do that one day. But not movie, just, a real kind of thing. Where to from here? So, keep advocating for ADSL deficiency and ADSL deficiency families. That's a big thing. Also, we've got a retreat coming up in next April. And so I'm really trying to advocate raise funds to hopefully get some families that in the ADSL deficiency community that can come to that as well, so to connect with those guys. So that's something in the pipe works. And then I've got a little podcast that it's really little. It's all learning. It's all, you've got to start somewhere, right? So I'm really learning. And so I'm interviewing rare mothers. So I'm interviewing mums with children with ADSL deficiency and also with other rare diseases, trying to get their message and their story heard out there, because it's so important that our stories are heard. And that's part of that. And what else have I got there? Anything else?
What have you else got? You tell me.
Pilates, it's like the side, it's of course,
like
Pilates.
Even short term, just like after, even tonight. This is big. What's next week? What you've given birth to this book?
Yeah,
that would be big stretch marks for that.
Yeah, sharp corners, a bit square. Look, I think now it's about digging deeper into those stories. Like I was saying before about, writing those chapters and, you've processed so much now. Those chapters don't look the same. They don't feel the same to me when I look back at them. I'm like, it's kind of, I'd write that different. I'd say that different now. This is kind of like where I'm at in some cases. And so, I want to do little YouTube videos where I sort of take a piece, and if you guys can help, if you can write something that touched you and you want me to go deeper on that kind of stuff, I'll try and do that on a YouTube video and just go a little bit deeper and talk about those things and just open it up to other people to comment on, so we sort of learn and grow together would be a good thing. But I think that's probably my next little creative project. I really love being creative. Look, honestly, the creative part of it has been my saving grace. I love designing the cover. I love, doing all the other little things, the workshops and doing all that kind of stuff. That's just what I love. And I haven't been good at marketing all that kind of stuff, but now I'm like, the book's done. You've got that done. That's the big piece that I've had to get finished, and I think the rest is sort of coming through that process.
That's also, I get what you mean. I know that the creativity, when I finished work, it saved me. Same thing. I would paint for hours and hours and hours. I would have just fallen off my perch otherwise.
Jan painted this beautiful painting behind me. It's beautiful, all the paintings. And this is Shadow, and these are the other dogs that Jan's painted. These are the other horses. She did a beautiful little painting for my horse Scooby too. I was going to bring him, but we're over. We're over. Oh no, that's cruel. But we're moved on.
But it does save you, that creative expression.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Does.
Yeah.
So we're just about ready to wind up my part of things and open up for some questions and answers. If anybody's got the answer, we'd like that.
I'll ask you the questions. You give me the answer. That'd
See
be
if
good.
you've been paying attention.
There's
There'll
a
be
quiz.
questions afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be a quiz at the end of today's session, so please pay attention.
Actually, I do. I've got it. So just think about that, because I'm asking one last question and then it's over to you if you've got anything
Carly.
that you'd like to ask.
No.
I've got. Well, okay. I'll go first. So, who is Natalie on the other side of this?
Wow. We didn't rehearse that one,
Is that another
Jan.
book? I know. Well, I know that other people get asked questions.
Okay, I just think more authentic, more showing up, more real, more creative. Yeah, just more present, just doing what I love to do. And And more with Andrew. And more with Andrew? Yeah. Where's Andrew? Yeah, spending more time with Andrew would be really good. I know, poor Andrew. Sort of like, had this long distance relationship. We lived just around the corner from each other. It was like, I can't fit you in this week. I'll see you on Saturday. Oh, sorry, I'm writing this really thick part of it at the moment. We just have to wait another week. Sure, Nat, whatever you need. Yeah, he's gold.
Very precious to have somebody who gives you the space to
he is absolutely
grow.
Gold. Yeah, absolutely. He's helped me through the hardest years of my life. Yeah.
Go, give me goosebumps. Have you got a question?
I've got a question. Through all the Pilates, you put on a really brave face. And, you know, we all turned up and Nat turned up. Which Nat was it?
Well, good question. Yeah. And in respect to that, like what I was talking about before about the dark place, I think the thing that brought me out of the dark place is helping other people and definitely being able to step into that space when the shit is going down at home in regards to, you know, it was like my... I don't know what the right word is, but it was like, you know, just I had to show up and be up and bubbly. I wasn't able to just, you know, go back.
Responsibility, and I think everybody in this room, you know, knows what it's like to when something's going down and you've still got that responsibility and you know that you've got to step up, and that's just being a mum.
Yeah.
So you're always a mum.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you always got to step up.
Yeah.
But it was probably the part where, you know, it got to a point where you just couldn't step up anymore, and you sent out a text to everybody that was part of your Pilates family and just said, I'm going, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I did. I sent out a message to all of my clients and I was set up, my little studio was up on McIver Highway, and I just said, I'm sorry, I can't keep doing this. I need to have a break and I'll be back in about 3 months.
And she went rally driving.
And yeah, I did, didn't I? I went on the Variety Bash. Variety Bash. I was offered through people that have donated through the Variety Club at school, the bus. I'd connected with those people there, and they said, "You want an adventure?" And I'm like, "Get me out of here!
Give me a distraction. I need one."
Yeah. That was probably, and that was it was really hard. And I remember like thinking, like I had with the studio, like I wanted, on one hand, I was ready to throw everything into my business. I really wanted to do, you know, business on a big scale.
Yep.
But then on the other hand, I just couldn't. I just couldn't be consistent because of the mental health, the grief, the dark moments, and just being able to be consistently showing up day after day, hour after hour, in that positive, bubbly, holding that space for other people, when inside I was like the guy at the nail bar. I just want to go and cry right now, but I'm going to stay here and we're going to do Pilates for another hour, and then when you all go, I'm going to fall into a heap and go home and cry.
So has anybody got any questions? Yes, please stand up. Yes.
No, you don't have to stand up. No one else in our family has been diagnosed with ADSL deficiency that I know, that I'm aware of. No other children. And it, like I said, it's an extremely rare disease, and we're still trying to work out why it occurs. That's what the science is behind it. We've created a few models that we're scientifically experimenting with. So we're breeding like insects, like a worm that is ADSL deficient, and we've got a fly that is ADSL deficient, and we've bred mice that are ADSL deficient. Now, mice is the next level for our scientific research, but unfortunately the mice aren't living long enough for us to be able to do the research with ADSL deficiency, which is really quite because we've been told that it is not compatible with life to be ADSL deficient, and that's the severities of the disease. So the higher the deficiency, the more severe. Yeah, and so that's the genotypes. So you go from mild to moderate. Some might just be autistic features, or not just. They can be still very, very challenging, in sometimes cases worse. And then in other cases, they may just be that they never progress past a 3-month-old in their development. Yeah.
Anybody else? Question? Yeah.
From all the families that you've met worldwide, what's the oldest that a child has gotten to?
Yeah, great question, Trin. Yeah, so we've got children that are 45, and she's non-verbal, but she can communicate, and so she writes to our family group as well. Like she'll put her perspective on life as a child with ADSL deficiency, which is just phenomenal. Yeah.
Anybody else? Yep.
Was having any more children ever on your agenda?
Yes. Yeah. And a couple of... Yeah, read the book. Yeah. And then when it's all said and done, I have had my moments where I'm like, maybe I'll become a foster parent. Maybe can I still have children? But, I'll get a horse, get a new dog, write a book, have a book baby instead. Yeah, a little bit of regret there, but not as well, So I am where I'm at. Yeah, thank you.
Well, Nat, that's pretty amazing story, and the book is incredible. And you are a very brave woman. Just to, talk about your beautiful boys. I'm getting really emotional. But, I just think everybody here has been privileged to hear your story, and you'll let us, really enjoy the book. So thank you to everybody that's come tonight.
Yeah.
Please stop in and have a chat with each other. Please, talk to Nat. And just on the last note, Nat, what have you got to say? Is there another book?
Not this week. I just want to say, Deb, thank you so much for allowing us to have this space tonight, and thank you, Jan, for being part of this.